I saw this young lady's video on Threads. She's 22, never been in a relationship, doesn't have any urge to date. She says that her family, her parents are still together. They have been together for 24 years, and the things that she has seen with relationships, it just doesn't appeal to her. She says that her parents have given her everything mentally, emotionally, financially. She says that she can also support herself. And she says she's watched what her friends have gone through and the people around her, and she just says it's just not worth it. And so obviously, the men in the comment section are pushing back, because what's so funny is a lot of the times they try to act like women are bitter or don't know how to date because they don't have their fathers in their lives and they haven't seen healthy relationships. When on the other hand, it literally could be because they do have fathers in their lives and they have seen healthy relationships, that they are shunning the men of right now, and the relationships that they have seen going on right now is what is pushing them to stay single. Now, I am going to play her video, but I do want to share a snippet of another comment that I got from a post yesterday. This is just a piece of a longer comment. This is what happens when, on the flip side, you do not have loving and supportive and healthy parents. This is what literally could happen. You could end up in a type of relationship like this that is abusive and financially harmful and just terrible for you right now and in the future. So this woman says, Burb, if I'm being honest, this happened to me. The video that she's commenting on was about post-separation abuse, where a man was using his children as a way to continue the abuse of the woman. So she says, Burb, if I'm being honest, this happened to me. My kids are grown now. If I tell my story, it would be a book. I just wish things were like this back then. I was isolated from family, etc. Every time I read these stories, I literally cry because I'm still struggling from this. I have a roof over my head, but I'm still living poorly because of this. Literally. They always say choose better. Listen to this part. I was a kid with 2 drug addict parents who put me out at 14, only to be swept up by a 28-year-old Frito now that I understand, who would beat me and grape me and continue to get me pregnant to force me to stay. I couldn't even explain. So the other lady, the 22-year-old, has 2 loving parents. This woman was unfortunate enough to get sucky parents who were drug addicts, so she got put out. She did not have stability, so that instability is what led her to be in a relationship with an abusive person who took advantage of the fact that she didn't have anywhere else to go. I talk about these types of things because how people make their decisions, the things that they do, the situations that they end up in, is not always because they didn't choose better. Many times it is fire, stove. I mean, literally, it's a rock in a hard place. And so that's the reason why when I have these discussions, I do ask you to have grace, because if a person has their faculties, they're healthy, they are not struggling financially, they're not desperate, they may make different decisions, whereas they're hungry, their life is in jeopardy, their children's lives are in survival mode, then they might make 2 completely different decisions. This woman didn't necessarily choose a 28-year-old. That's where she saw a soft landing as a 14-year-old who was put out. Now let's get back to this 22-year-old. Let's listen to her story.
This as a 22-year-old who has never had a boyfriend, never been in a relationship. I've gone on like 3 dates in my entire life, and I don't really get approached by men at all, but I grew up in a very loving home where both of my parents are still together. They're married. They have like 24 years of marriage under their belt, and I saw a healthy version of love. And then on top of that, I have a healthy relationship with my father, uncle, cousins, like most of the men in my family, and they gave me the world. On top of that, having a mother that also did the same, I have not seen a real reason for me to have a boyfriend at all. And as someone who is very observant, I have seen girls from the ages, like, because a lot of people started dating at like 14, from 14 up until now, I haven't seen a single real reason for me to ever get a boyfriend or a benefit at all. Like, I feel like a lot of people are just not well developed, and I've seen girls like their emotional and mental has been so damaged where they need to be in therapy. It's people sitting up here playing house and becoming baby moms, and that's ruining their life. Like, it just, and then so many people are getting emotionally manipulated. Like, it does not seem appetizing at all. And then like you can use the excuse of, oh, just date older, but like a lot of these older men aren't there either. And the bad thing is, like, as someone who is young, I've never got the appeal of dating older, but I do know a lot of people who do date older date for security and money, but a lot of these older men don't even have that. And as someone who, both my parents have, you know, given me the world on a silver platter, and I can do the same at 22, a lot of these guys just aren't coming up there. And nobody I have met, or at least talked to, has been remotely even close enough where I'd be like, let me bring you home. Like, while I can understand this,
the comments are kind of a mixed bag. Very Damier says, essentially her parents raised her up in a healthy, thriving, and supportive environment. Psychologically, her essential needs have already been met. But on top of that, the examples she's seen from her peers of girls dating around her age to appear to be more of a detriment than a benefit. So for her, there is no real incentive for her to date. She has her own financial security. She has her own support system. She's set. And when a woman's needs are set early on, they aren't as easily ensnared. And the fact that he used the word ensnared just goes to show that, yes, sometimes these dudes use the issues, the insecurity, the financial insecurity, the abuse from somebody else or something as a manipulation tactic. They find that pressure point. This is one of the reasons why you do not tell these men your traumas, because they will use it against you. The Chic organizer says, I'm 40, never been in a relationship, never will. Men as a collective are not good people. You have so many women that are just opting out these days for whatever reason. DJ says some people are just not meant for relationships and some not meant for children. And then Follow the Leela says, and that's most men. So this is where women drop the birth rate down to hell. We decide whose DNA makes it to the next generation. I don't know if if Follow the Leela follows me, but the fact that she says drop the birth rate down to hell, it just warms my heart, because obviously I am on team let the birth rate plummet to hell. Golden B. Huck says, this isn't healthy. A lot of my students are like this. Juniors and seniors in college and have never been in a relationship. And it might be harmful to the young men who have never been in a relationship, but especially in college, the girls have the opportunity to pour into themselves, pour into their education and their careers before getting involved with men. And that, for me, is a good sign. But letting a man say it, it is not a good sign for men. Nor Coco says, imagine their quality of life not having the emotional scars of heartbreak well into their 20s. Smart strategy, if you ask me. And I say the same thing too. I believe that women should be using their 20s for themselves. And as more and more women hear this, because I will continue to say this, it's going to give women the opportunity to build themselves up and hear from people like me, where we're talking about red flags, manipulation tactics, warning signs like going off, so that they can avoid some of the things that we have gone through, and they can go around all of that. Shy Little says, it sounds like you're speaking from a teacher/faculty member perspective. Who genuinely wants to share their private life with a teacher in college? I genuinely feel you should not be concerned about whether or not your students are romantically involved with someone unless they're being harmed. And Nikki comments to Golden saying, there's absolutely nothing unhealthy about being secure, confident, and self-aware enough to recognize what you don't want. If she ever meets a man that doesn't give off red flags, she may feel differently, but good for her for not falling for any foolishness. And to that, Golden Huck says, there is absolutely something unhealthy about not developing the skills to be able to be in a relationship. You don't know if these young people are not able to be in a relationship based on what you see. Just because they are not dating as a junior or senior, maybe they want to focus on their schooling. But now his red flags are starting to show. He says, y'all miserable asses are setting these young girls to be the red flag. Just because y'all can't cooperate with another person in a relationship doesn't mean y'all have to sabotage them. So number one, this conversation started because a 22-year-old says she's seen healthy relationships and she's seen other people experience sucky relationships. It's not other women that are saying these things. It's her watching, and learning from other people's mistakes is a very wise thing to do. But this man is a man, and regardless of how he came across at first, he doesn't care about these people. He just wants women to stay in this cycle. And by calling women miserable and saying that this type of woman is going to be a red flag, it's a shaming tactic to push women into these relationships, even when it's not necessarily productive or healthy for that particular woman. Anyways, the comment section was definitely a mixed bag. Men are feeling a way about women pulling themselves out of relationships, by their own choices. Let me know what you think about all of this. Are you dating? Do you have you seen these type of things? Join the conversation, like, comment, and share. So I just did a video where we're talking about the 22-year-old who's uninterested in being in a relationship. She's seen how relationships go. And then we have this woman, Lila, who has been in a relationship with for 14 years, and now they've broken up. So we're about to talk about her situation. All right, she says, if men have nothing else, she says, the other night my ex broke up with me, told me he didn't love me, and said he wanted to just be friends, laughing my butt off. Then I get text this. I can't make this up. That last message, the unmitigated effing gall. Now, let's look at this text message. So it looks like she had been talking to him about some Instagram post or something like that. He says fire, but that's not the point of the conversation. So they broke up, remember, and it looks like it's damn near 11 p.m. He says, damn, I'm logged out the Netflix, shaking my head. He says, it's okay though, LOL, and I hope you good. And then he says, yes, I only hit you because I couldn't watch Netflix. He literally said, I hit you because I couldn't watch Netflix. Like she said right here, the unmitigated effing gall. She goes on to say, and I'm not going to lie, y'all, I ugly cried when he broke up with me. 14 years of history, and because I was showing him more attention than normal, I got texts, I can't lie anymore, I don't love you. All I did was pour love into this man and be the light in his life. I even thought for a split second to forgive him. Then he texts this, and it was all the clarity I needed to leave his butt where the F he's at. This is why I will continue to say, pour into the people who have poured into you. Don't give and give and give if there is no reciprocity. Talking about 14 years of history, and he's going to say, I can't lie anymore, I don't love you. He loved the fact that she was pouring into him, and takers will continue to take if you continue to give. Stop giving and giving and giving to these people, because you are literally just giving away your life force. And now she's sitting up here ugly crying over a man who is talking to her about a Netflix password. Blue Cage says, y'all are going to learn you can't nurture a cactus. It'll prick you. Men are the cactus. They're unlovable and they know it. Women don't know it though. Sunshine Glow Baby says, I'm not usually this direct, but cut that man off now. How are you with someone for 14 years and he just now don't love you? The F is wrong with him. Take all that love, kindness, and compassion and invest it in someone who's ready to receive it. Hopefully that person is you. Lila says, I'm giving it to myself. I blocked him on everything, revoked all access. And then Sunshine Glow Baby says, I know it's going to hurt because you're a lover, not a game player, but you did what needed to be done. You'll come out of this even more divine. Just don't let anyone make you question your light. Bear Brown says, he believes you love him regardless of anything, but he doesn't feel the same way. The attention probably came off as needy and turned him off. He's familiar with you, so he's comfortable. You have to reinvent yourself and be the person you always wanted to be. Don't jump into another relationship just to pass the time. Use the time to heal and self-improve. Don't answer anyone's questions about what you have going on, especially no mutual people, including your relatives. No info whatsoever. And then Lila says, and it's like, he moved, so we're 1,100 miles apart. So all we had was conversation, and I usually gave him space, but the other night I really wanted to hear his voice, and he just snapped. So they're apart. She wanted to talk to him, and he snapped on her and said that he didn't love her. What kind of response was that? If they're 1,100 miles apart and he snapped on her for something like wanting to talk, that dude must have been cheating, and she's doing well to say, you know what, access denied and blocking on everything, because he probably was cheating. All right, y'all, I'm gonna end it with that. I'm just showing this one because women can pour into men. Like that other woman is navigating and getting away from all of this without having to go through all of this and then do the process of healing and all of that. She's avoiding all of that by just skipping over that part and just getting to the part where she's pouring into herself instead. All right, let me know what you think about this one. Like, comment, and share. This young lady made a post in the women's subreddit and Ask Men subreddit talking about the exact same thing. So in the women's subreddit, she says, I wish my fiance would take care of me more. She says, he really doesn't clean up after himself. So she says, take care of me more, and then leads up with the things that he's not doing, which he should be doing. This is not about taking care of her. It's about not taking care of their space. She says, he doesn't really clean up after himself unless I ask, or do the dishes unless I ask, or do them myself. He doesn't cook, but needs babysat when he does. He doesn't plan or execute plans, and I'm always making decisions for him. He always says it's up to you with anything and everything. He does struggle a little with finances, and I've tried helping, but I'd rather step away since it's not my business or money. When people are a little weird or rude to me, he just sits there and says, I'm sorry after, but in conversation, he talks about how much he would defend me if someone was mean or weird to me. She's calling this man her fiance for some strange reason. All right, she says, he is very sweet and caring outside of that, which makes this super hard for me. He does sometimes do chores, but that's maybe every few months. Ugh. He pays for groceries sometimes or buys my gas sometimes. He has never cheated or said a mean thing to me. He's been sassy sometimes, but never abusive. This is the first relationship I've had where I wasn't abused in some way. That's the part. I feel horrible complaining because everybody says I'm being mean when I vent about it, or that boys will be boys and he'll grow out of it. I do admit I shouldn't have been so giddy to be in a relationship and engaged to somebody who was willing to give that to me, but he's a good guy. So that is the problem right there. This is her first relationship where she wasn't abused. So this is not a good guy. He's just not as terrible, and this is a terrible situation. Everything in this first paragraph should be breakup worthy. And the title is definitely misleading. I wish my fiance would take care of me more. No, he needs to learn how to properly adult and take care of himself. Here I said, you're going to end up being a full-on wife appliance. He's getting used to you being a servant. You're doing most of the housework now, and you work. You're going to be screwed, then burnt out by the time you're married with kids. You should already know that the comments between the women's subreddit and the Ask Men subreddit are going to be basically night and day. So let's look at them. Here for my pleasure is who tagged me in. She says, is this how you want to live for the rest of your life? It only gets worse. He's not even a functional adult now. Why would you want to marry a child? I would strongly encourage you to go to Bourbon Bougie on YouTube and watch a lot of her videos. You will see that women will marry males like this and are effing miserable. It only gets worse. And that's the thing. She is only 21. She says it in the comment section. So this is the reason why we're trying to take hold of these young ladies right now. Like she said, he can't be trusted to take care of a dog. It says how on God's screeners, but how on God's green earth do you think you're going to build with this person as a parent? How would he be as a parent? This person should not be taking care of a plant. Now, I can't really take care of plants either, but he definitely shouldn't be taking care of a plant or a cactus. I'm sorry, a cactus is a plant, or a dog or anything. He probably should start off with a pet rock. Raining in the Woods says, boys will be boys is code for a guy being a slacker, and whoever says it has low standards and is covering for him. He will grow out of it. And then she says, no, he won't. Expect a partner, an actual adult partner who takes care of actual adult responsibilities, not a sweet adolescent boy in a man's body. Are you considering having a child with this guy? You will be a solo parent. He will get worse when the responsibilities of raising a child come along. So much work. And then at the bottom, distinct value says, TLDR. He doesn't want a partner. He wants a parent. Think long and hard about whether you want to be sleeping next to a full-grown toddler for the rest of your life, because that's what he is. That is precisely right. Big Rose says, how old are you guys? He sounds like my ex-husband, sadly. She continues with, I got married when I was 21. Dumbest decision of my life. I grew up in a pretty volatile household, so I just latched onto the first guy that seemed nice enough. And he was that nice enough. But he had no passion, no drive to do anything besides let me support us and our kid. And when you're that young, you really don't know what you want at all. I'm so much happier now at 29 without dragging his dead weight around. And then she says, we're both 21. We've been together since we were 18 and moved in together in August. And we got engaged the same month, though. So this is really, really young. She's already seeing these red flags. What is she going to do about it? Hopefully these women in the comment section can do some impact or have some impact. We will see. But let's go over to the male side of this. She asked the men, is it okay for chores not to be 50-50 when bills are 50-50? She says, I've been with my fiance for 2 years, engaged and living together for 1. We're both 21. We both make the same. He handles laundry and helps me load the dishwasher. I hand wash dishes, cook, clean the house, and take care of the dog. Kind of housewife duties. It kind of feels odd, and I've asked for more help, and he gives me some more help for a week or two, then kind of falls back to just what I listed above. Is this a normal guy thing, like a boys will be boys? I do most of the mechanic work on my car or take it to a shop. He does pay for my gas on occasion and will help with groceries sometimes too, but 75% of the time I do it myself, so I can just stop overthinking. So the thing is, you see how completely different this post is over in the male side. She is listing out all of the things that she does, but it is still way too much. She says the bills are 50-50, but she's already doing way too much in the household. Like she says, it feels kind of like, even though they have a dog, it feels like she is a housewife and she is a breadwinner as well. All right, let's look at the men's comments. So Jacques says, I don't know that's a guy/girl thing as much as a person who cares the most about cleaning thing. I do all the housework because I work from home, and mostly because I have less tolerance for a dirty house. I've made my peace with it. One thing that worked a bit for me was a list. Divide things up into responsibilities. I wouldn't expect much long-term from that approach. But if you like it clean and he's indifferent, you'll just do more. She says, I tried a list and he said he didn't need it and wasn't going to use it. And then he says, not surprising, it only worked here for a few months. So this man says, no offense, but these are the stupidest questions on the planet. Your relationship is not a business transaction. Either you work together comfortably or you play to the strengths and the desires of both partners, or you need to end it. This person will presumably be in your life until you die. If you are struggling with basic self-care being shared between you, end that now. The problems you will face together only get harder and more complicated from here. You need a team player on a shared team, not a transactional relationship. And no, that's not normal. He's taking advantage of you. Leave and find a better person. He's saying that these are stupid questions. She's a 21-year-old asking men these questions. The fact that he says that she needs to end it is a good thing, but then you get to a man like this. I agree with the first half, but Reddit is too big on the end it/divorce BS. He's like, you don't end it over things like this. He says, there are many different routes to take. Cheating is an ended situation. Manipulation is an ended situation. Chores not being divided evenly is not an ended situation. That is something that can be worked on. Please don't listen to the second half of this, otherwise good response. I completely agree, but disagree. I believe that this is an ended situation, but I also think it's a manipulation situation. He is manipulating the situation, acting like he can't do anything. This person is not a fully functional adult. But the thing is, she didn't give the men the same type of post. Maybe they would have thought of it differently than her just listing out the chores that she does and he does versus what she put over in the women's situation. I'm sorry, the women's subreddit. All right, Kidney Displacer says, but it's so easy for me to make major life-changing decisions for others when I don't have to suffer the consequences. What consequences will she suffer from this? Not having to take care of an adult toddler. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. I'm not going to go through all of these comments from Ben. Some of the men in here did know and understand that this is unequal, but they really do want to take a tiptoe approach because I am sure that they don't want women to be so rash that they just leave men hanging where it comes to chores. Let me know what y'all think. I'll share a bit of my past 2 days with y'all for a palate cleanser. This is my firstborn, and we had a staycation for his birthday. We kicked it for the last couple of days. We stayed at this particular hotel because he was stoked. He loves trains, and he has wanted to get on this monorail since we moved to Las Vegas. He wanted to get on this monorail ever since we visited Las Vegas. Since this was his birthday and this is what he really wanted, he paid for the tickets, with our money or whatnot. But he was so stoked about this. I didn't know my husband was about to snap the picture, so he did catch us off guard. But we had fun in the swimming pool, the lazy river. We really kicked it. And man, whenever I go swimming and do anything in the water, I am exhausted. We checked out this restaurant, Netflix Bites, and had fun. He had this big old burger, and he literally smashed it like he was a grown dude, like a grown man. He just turned 11 and ate the same size burger as his daddy. The crazy thing about this, these two kids of mine, they don't even really look at the kids' menus anymore. They go straight for the adults menu. And man, anyways, but he had a blast. He really enjoyed his food. I enjoyed my fancy drink. This is not alcohol. This is just a fancy drink. And then after eating and after swimming and all of that, we took a quick stroll to the strip. We ended up at the M&M store. They took some pictures, and then we had to head back because it has literally been very hot. Swimming makes me tired. The sun and the heat, all of that was dehydrating. It was time to get back to the room, rest, sleep, and recharge for the day. So this is just a little bit of our last 2 days. I know that I have still been putting out content, but we have literally been kicking it and having fun. Hopefully this palate cleanser, it made you smile a little bit. I know I don't share too much with the kiddos, but this is what we did for the last couple of days.